For Escape, Explorer, Edge, Bronco and Bronco Sport, and the iconic Ford Mustang have arrived just in time for their Auto Show month and SUV season. We have the inventory in stock and on the way. Thurby's Riverside Ford, your presidential award-winning dealer located 1 mile past Lady Luck Casino on Route 40. See Joey, Sammy, Jimmy, or Ashley. Offer ends March 31st, 2024.
For funeral services from pre-need to at-need, burial or cremation, call Gates Funeral Home and Crematory, located at 136 North Gallatin Avenue in a beautifully restored historic home. Family owned and operated by Rick Gates, former Brownsville resident and Guyville alumni, the Gates Funeral Home and Crematory offers warmth, convenience, affordability, and ample parking. With a knowledgeable funeral director and compassionate staff, the Gates family and the Gates Funeral Home and Crematory are ready to assist you.
Attorney Thomas W. Schaefer litigated over 275 civil and criminal trials, some of which have been aired on Oprah, Inside Edition, and ESPN. Having an engineering degree, master's in business administration, and law degree qualifies him to go toe-to-toe with anyone. His firm concentrates in wills, trusts, estates, property transfers, personal injury, solar field and Marcellus gas negotiations, and family law. Small enough to care and smart enough to win. Phone 724-425-1162 or email tommyschaefer@hotmail.com.
Are you noticing your house getting a little drafty? Use your tax refund and call Monarch Windows and Doors. Family owned and operated with over 20 years experience, Monarch Windows and Doors can make your home warm again. Monarch Windows and Doors only use their own employees, no subcontractors. They are BBB accredited and offers military discounts. Call Monarch Windows and Doors and find out what they could do for you. 412-215-8116. That's 412-215-8116 or see Monarch Windows and Doors on Google or Facebook.
The views and opinions presented by the host, guest, or callers on this program do not necessarily represent the position of WMBS Radio. The following is a paid political presentation. Candidates may have provided all or some questions to the host and may or may not take phone calls. WMBS and the host do not endorse any political candidate on air during a paid political presentation.
This land of ours is under attack. The time has come, we're gonna take it back. Just wait and see. Don't tread on me. I won't sit back, stand idly by, watch the heart of my nation die. Oh, not me. Don't tread on me. Don't tread on my Bible, don't tread on my guns, don't you tread on my faith in God's only Son. Don't tread on me. Don't tread on me.
Hey, everybody. This is John Marietta, and I am the Hillbilly, and it's another beautiful day in Fayette County. Today's show is being brought to you by Monarch Windows and Doors, Miles's Garage and Tire Center, PatriotsOnline.com, Fayette County Recovery, Storage and U-Haul. Phone number is 724-323-3833. Country Motor Sales, 724-628-9190. Tactical Civics, White Mountain Logging, Solid Foundation Ministry, New Life Free Methodist Church, Highline Motorsports, Gun Owners of America, Hillbilly Jon Radio, and don't forget to go to YouTube. I got to get after Brian. He got a couple to put up, and John Marietta for We the People. We've been talking about all the fish things you go to, but I guess I'm going to be going to Brownsville this week because they just did remote outside here, and I thought that was pretty neat. And I'll be going down to Brownsville. Down to the fire hall down there to eat fish this week. Oh, yeah. Last week I was West Lyson Ring. Oh, did you? Yep, at the House of Fish in Butte. And it was, actually, it was really good. Is our volume okay? Oh, yeah. Okay. So that's where we were last week. And, Gina, where did you end up getting fish on Friday?
So I ended up going to the Clairton Sportsman Club because my gem that I found apparently is very busy, and they sold out of their pierogies and fish before I left the studio. So I was sort of sad, but I did find a new place.
That's great.
And they have crab cakes there, so that was the different thing. Was there a different item at the Brownsville one? Because you said baked potatoes at the...
They had baked potatoes and baked fish, and I'll tell you what, they made homemade pierogies. Now, at West Lason Ring, the fish was like this great big piece of fried fish, and it was really good. Mm-hmm. And if you got a fish sandwich, it was all you could do to eat it. So, but we went there, and it was good, and I appreciate it. And you know what? I got to thinking about this. All the things that's going on in Fayette County, and on Saturday, and I don't know if any of you realize, but it was Saturday's weather was terrible. I mean, it was like cold and raining, and
soggy.
You know what? And soggy, yeah. And you know what? I believe it was the Monarch Fire Hall, the volunteer fire company, was selling hoagies out in the rain on Saturday, trying to help out the EMS workers. I mean, you know what? Stop by when these guys are there. If you don't want to buy a hoagie, give them a donation. I mean, they're raising money for equipment to help us. And I tell you what, it's something that we need to help these firemen out with as much as we can. That's why I try to promote the fish dinners and the churches and all this thing. So, but anyways, let's start out with this. My name will be great among the nations, from where the sun rises to where it sets. In every place, incest and pure offerings will be brought to me, because my name will be great among the nations, saith the Lord Almighty. That's Micah 1:11. Mm-hmm. I'm going to read this. It's I ran across this a while back. Actually, I seen the plaque and I took a picture of it, and I thought this was really good. I do not choose to be a common man. It is my right to be uncommon. I seek opportunity to develop whatever talents God gave me, not security. I do not wish to be a kept citizen, humbled and dulled by having the state look after me. I want to take the calculated risk, to dream, to build, to fail, to succeed. I refuse to barter insensitive for a dole. I prefer the challenges of my life to the guaranteed existence, the thrill of fulfillment to the stale calm of utopia. I will not trade freedom for benevolence, nor my dignity for a handout. I will never cower before any earthly master, nor bend to any threat. It is my heritage to stand erect, proud, and unafraid, to think and act myself, enjoy the benefit of my creations, and to face the world boldly and say, this, with God's help, I have done. Mm-hmm. All this is what it means to be an American. Mm-hmm. I have somebody on the line already, I guess. Is that right? Yep. Chris, did you catch that?
I did. I heard you read every word of it.
Yeah, I stumbled on a couple things because, you know what? My glasses is getting a terrible reflection. And but anyways, I got it figured out now. Anyways, I just thought I would mention that. I ran across that, and I don't remember where it was exactly, but I took a picture of it, and then I looked it up on the internet, and it's called the American Creed. And it's pretty cool. So, okay. And Chris always has a quote, which I like. It's from William Wallace, and I know it's we're getting close to St. Patrick's Day, and people with the Scottish heritage. I don't know how them and the Irish get along so well, but I guess they got along somewhat.
Well, they're both Celtic. Scottish and Irish is Celtic, and my wife is Scottish and Irish, so they must get along well because there's quite a few Scots-Irish in America, including my wife. So what's going on, John? Did you want to talk about Joe Biden and his slobber fest at the State of the Union?
Yeah, we can do that. But first, let's get William Wallace's quote was, men don't follow titles, men follow courage. Is that true?
They follow courage, yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I thought that was pretty cool. So, okay. Yeah, let's talk about the State of the Union, which if anybody that goes to the grocery store actually knows what the State of the Union is or buys gasoline, because back 2019 it was $1.65.9, $1.75.9, and now this is where we're at.
Yeah. I call it a slobber fest. I guess I could also call it a mumble fest, as well as a propaganda fest. A lot of stuff going on. To be fair to Biden, the beginning actually wasn't that bad. It looked like he was carrying himself for a while pretty well. Towards the end, he started going back to the mumbling and the slobber kind of mumbo-jumbo, many incoherent sentences that didn't make any sense. And by far the most insensitive thing he ever did, he was speaking about Laken Riley, this college student in Georgia who was killed by an illegal immigrant who came over the border thanks to Biden's open border policy. And he tried to show sympathy. He couldn't even get her name right. He called her Lincoln, not Laken. And then he said something about, well, even if we secured the border, they could still come over, $8,000 a piece. And none of it made any single bit of sense. And it was really bad. And the second half of that speech was embarrassing. I think my wife said it best. If he was just an 81-year-old guy off the street, it wouldn't be so bad. But this 81-year-old man is the president of the United States, not a man off the street. And it does not instill trust and security. In fact, several countries are now mocking Biden. Italy put together what looks like a Saturday Night Live clip mocking him fall down all the time. I think in one of the Middle Eastern countries, it might have been Saudi Arabia, that made fun of him as well, and standing at the podium and falling all over himself. I mean, people are laughing at Joe Biden all over the world. This is really bad.
Yeah, and we're in a war with Ukraine, and it's an ugly situation where it's almost like. It's almost like it's a money laundering thing over there. I mean, it's real ugly, and I wish we could get out of that situation and try to help the Ukrainians out in a different way. But it looks like we're going to have to escalate that before we're going to get done with it.
Well, if Trump gets reelected, I see him wrapping that war up very quickly. He'll go to Putin. He'll reach out to Putin and just make some demands and say, knock it off. You're not going to win this. Mm-hmm. I remember when this all started, the war in Ukraine, President Trump came out and said, when I was president, I reached out to Putin. And I said, if you go after Ukraine, I will bomb Moscow. And Putin said, no problem, and backed off. Mm-hmm. See, when you're dealing with a bully like Putin, or like some of these other world leaders who are bullies, the only way to cause them to take a step back and respect you is you got to hit them right between the mouth. You have to have a strong leader. Reagan did the same thing. Ronald Reagan did the same thing. Peace through strength is what Reagan said. And that's what Trump did as well, and it worked. But the thing about the war in Ukraine, Biden essentially started that war when he pulled out of Afghanistan and left billions of dollars of high-tech military equipment. I think it was $87 billion or some odd number like that, and left it in the hands of terrorists, the Taliban. Putin was watching. He said, this guy's he's spineless. He's weak. He can't defend his country. And so that pullout and leaving behind all those billions of dollars of defense weapons in the hands of the Taliban is what motivated Putin to say, well, Biden won't stop me, and that's why he invaded. And so that's about 2 years ago. And so we're still here, and, Biden has no one to blame but himself for his weakness.
Well, and this is where we're at. We actually have an invasion on our southern border, and I'm understanding that we're having problems on the northern border now.
Sure.
Actually, the sheriff was supposed to be here, but he's doing his sheriffly duties. I guess that's the way to put it. He's not. He's doing something right now today, but we're hoping to have him on next week. We got fouled up with some things, but hopefully he'll be on next week or maybe even Friday for a little while with us. But anyways, the number that I'm hearing is 8 million since 2020 started.
Wow.
That invaded, but it's probably three times that. It's probably really close to 3 times that.
Yeah, the number I'm hearing is at least 10 million. At least.
Well,
and we're sorry?
Yeah, that you're right. Yeah. Exactly.
And this all started because of what Biden did. I mean, for him to stand up there in the State of the Union address and say, we don't know why this is happening, it's a problem, we got to get it fixed. Joe Biden absolutely, definitely, unambiguously caused the crisis at the border within his first 100 days. Here's the evidence to prove this, that Biden caused this. Within his first 100 days in office, Joe Biden issued 94 executive orders. That's almost 100.
Wow.
94 executive orders undermining border security. Every single one of those 94, had something to do with undermining our border. He did it all on purpose.
Wow.
And what would be the reason? Well, Laura Trump, who is the daughter-in-law to Donald Trump, she said it best. She said in a video within the last day or so that at least 10 million illegal immigrants have come here, and she said, we know why. This is what she said, and it lines up with what you and I had said about a month or so ago, John. They said in order for the Democrats to register them to vote, they're going to vote by mail-in ballot because many of these people can't speak English. If they go to the polls, it would be obvious, but they can either fill out a mail-in ballot themselves, or someone help them fill it out, or someone just do it for them. And so that's how they're going to get, this is what she said, and I concur with that they're going to get 10 million more votes out of it. That's why he did this.
Yep.
There's no other reason.
And now that they're registering them to vote when they go to the DMV, isn't that another problematic issue, that they're just registering them to vote without even really consenting?
Well, yeah. In Pennsylvania, Josh Shapiro issued his own executive order, and I don't even think that's constitutional. He mandated that everyone who gets a driver's license is automatically registered to vote. So, yeah, they may not even know it.
Right.
I mean, if they don't even speak English well enough, they're getting registered to vote, not even knowing it. And once their name's on the voter file, someone can get a mail-in ballot in their name and fill it out.
I wonder how many of these 18-year-olds that are, getting driver's licenses the same, and they're oblivious to the fact that they're registered to vote. I mean, you should be able to pick your party affiliate, right? If somebody is signing you up to register, like, you would think, right?
Oh, absolutely. Well, remember, you used to have to be 21 years old to vote. They brought it down to 18, and I'm sure that was part of getting more young people to vote Democrat. But remember, this whole situation, the 1993 motor voter law, that's what it's called, Bill Clinton and the Democrats passed that so that you could register to vote at the DMV, and you are not required to ask if these people are citizens. So who knows how many millions of people are on the voter rolls that shouldn't be, because what I've looked at, the organizations that do track illegal immigration, Center for Immigration Studies and others, they say it's between 30 and 40 million illegal immigrants in the U.S.
Holy cow.
There's a certain, it's not the migrant workers that's the problem. It's not, because they've done this, they've done this generational.
Yeah. I
mean, they've come here, they've worked in the fields, and their families have done that. It's not the migrant workers. And some of them, they travel they start out wherever, and they just travel from one state to the other. I remember a fellow that lives up close to the New York line. He told me, he said that actually they started picking up peaches, or I think in Georgia, or maybe it was even oranges. And he said they made it to his place for picking. They picked apples, and he said usually when they got done with that, they would head back home, and yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
And he said the problem that he seen with it was that, I guess legally you have to take taxes out on them, but most of the places pay them with like a 1099, and then they have to pay their taxes themselves. But what he seen was the money was all going. They were wiring the money back straight to Mexico,
families, yep.
or to whatever country they were from in South America, and what President Trump wanted to do was he wanted to tax that money that was being sent by wire,
so we could retain
so
some of
we
it.
could keep some of it here in the United States.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. Migrant workers are legal immigrants. They get a visa, they have a certain period of time to work, and then they have to go home. Yeah, exactly. We're not against legal immigration. We're against illegal immigration because you don't know who's coming across the border. In fact, several hundred actual terrorists have been caught at our southern border. If we've caught several hundred, how many did not get caught?
Right. How many
So
are...
if there's a terrorist attack anytime soon, that's directly on Biden and the Democrats.
Yep.
So this is a national security issue. Again, you said it yourself. Not against immigrants who come here legally and work hard. My parents are immigrants from Italy. So great. We welcome people who come here and want to work. We're talking about people who come here illegally. And as we see with this Laken Riley and others who have done, they've committed crimes and they've hurt people and they've injured people. And there's a video out there on YouTube of an illegal immigrant saying, because I have a baby here now, I'm set for life. I don't have to work.
Yeah.
I'm just going to collect my welfare program. So we don't want people here who are going to milk the welfare state or commit crimes. We want people who are going to work.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, Chris, and you're exactly right. They're coming here. They're coming here for them reasons, and the drugs. That's the other thing. That the amount of fentanyl, and there's probably other drugs too involved. But don't you feel like it just isn't? It's just not the Dems' fault, or we it seems just like every 4 years we point fingers. The Democrats point fingers at the Republicans, and the Republicans point fingers at the Democrats. It seems like we need to just fix it.
Yeah.
I mean, we just need to get it fixed. We need to come to some kind of agreement. I mean, I'm not saying compromise, but we need to come to an agreement and get this fixed and be done with it.
Well, the problem, John, is that the Democrat Party has gone so far left since JFK. My parents were JFK Democrats. My dad was a steel worker and the treasurer of the Steel Workers Union and a Democrat at one time. My mother was a Democrat. And in the 80s, they left the Democrat Party. My mother, under Reagan, of course, she loved Reagan, became a Reagan Republican in 84. My dad left the Democrat Party in 88 while he was still working at the steel mill. He worked almost 27 years in the steel mill. Again, treasurer of the Steel Workers Union. So he leaves the Democrat Party in 88, becomes an independent for 4 years, and then in 92 he had enough and became a Republican. And my dad, I remember this because I was living at home with my parents while I was commuting to college in order to earn my bachelor's degree. I was trying to keep costs down. So I was living at home with them. He came home one day, and he said, when Ronald Reagan said, I didn't leave the Democrat Party, it left me, he said, my father said, I finally know what he meant by that. I said, what are you trying to say, Dad? He said, today I became a Republican. My mother and I gave him a standing ovation because the Democrat Party walked so far away. They've moved so hard left. JFK, John F. Kennedy, was by far the best or the last great Democrat president, and he would be a Republican by today's standards.
Well, I remembered, like one of, you know how Facebook has memories that pop up? And so one of these memes popped up from 2019, and it says, like, I wonder how many people are thinking about our arguments from back then and realizing that we were right. And the immigration, you know, Trump building a wall and the immigration was a big debate back then on Facebook. And if you believed in people legally coming into our country, the Democrats, like my friends that were Democrats, were really hitting me hard and accusing me of being a racist just because we all saw what is happening today back in 2019. And they just could not get that through their head.
It's not racist to protect your country from people who come here to commit crimes or just milk the welfare system dry. Yes. If we were racist, we wouldn't allow any immigrants in, but we do.
Right.
We're all for legal immigration. I mean, they play these games. The left. Anytime they don't like your ideas, they call you a racist or a bigot or a hater or some twisted. It's they call gaslighting. It's all just a tactic. But look at this. During the State of the Union address, Biden claimed that he brought inflation down to 3%.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Is that why the groceries are so
That's
cheap
why,
now?
Yeah, I mean,
You get 2 items for $100 now instead of a whole grocery cart.
Pennsylvania has the highest food cost due to inflation in the entire nation. And here's what want to know what the real inflation rate is? 18%.
Yeah.
Under Trump, it was 1.9%, less than 2%.
Yeah, and that's correct. And the way the way it's calculated is, I mean, you can play with the numbers and make it look like it's 3.5% or 4% or whatever, but it's definitely. You saying it's 18.5%? I just had a fellow tell me. Yesterday that he said he feels like the correct number is 17.5. But okay, so we'll agree to disagree about 1 point, huh?
Yeah. Well, from what I've read, they're saying it's 18 overall, but some specific sectors of the economy are higher. Some specific sectors have a 20 or 30% increase, such as new cars and used cars. Now, used cars, the cost is starting to come down, but new cars have gone up more than 18%. So, I mean, it's 18% overall. So 18% is an average, which means in some cases it's more. So, I mean, this is horrendous. And inflation is another tax. So if we're looking at an 18% on average inflation, that means every time you buy something, you're paying 18 cents more per dollar for that item.
Wow.
So if you're buying a $10 item, you just paid an extra $1.80 for it.
Jeez, oh man, that's why your dollar, when you go to the grocery store for getting gas, doesn't go as far anymore.
Yeah.
No. And it's a hidden tax. Now get this. There's a quote attributed to Lenin, Vladimir Lenin, who started the Soviet Union. And he said the best way to tear down capitalism is through high taxes and high inflation.
Well, I tell you what, we got we're gonna have to kind of like call it a day right there. I think, Chris, right there. But I do got one question for you. Well, your wife is Irish. So what? So what's so what are we having on Sunday for dinner?
Whatever she makes, I don't argue. My wife is Scottish and Irish.
Okay.
Scots-Irish.
So you're having corned beef and cabbage?
Believe it or not, no. My wife is not picky about any kind of an ethnic food. She just whatever she feels like making, she makes, and I'm fine with that.
Yeah,
that's an American thing, I guess.
It might be more American than it is Irish. I don't know, but that's one thing that we do every year with It's my wife's tradition that all the kids come, and so. But anyways, hey, I appreciate you calling in. We'll have you on again, and thanks for calling, Chris. You stay safe.
Thank you. Thank you. Take care.
Bye, Chris.
Okay, we got our next caller up on the line, and I think he's probably dancing a jig. Is it an Irish jig, Greg?
It's a hillbilly jig.
It's a hillbilly jig? And you're in,
hillbilly jig.
And
yeah.
You got some big news for us.
Yeah, real good. We put a fork in the case in Philadelphia, the defamation suit against President Trump, Rudy Giuliani, Leah Hoops, and myself. It's all officially over. Truth is a complete defense that there was massive election fraud in November 2020, and that the plaintiff in this case, who was the Savage, subverted the election in part. He wasn't the only culprit, and then contributed to hiding and fabricating evidence. It's now a matter of public record. And today's hearing was an attempt by the attorney to get out of sanctions for misconduct and basically lying to the court in a number of instances in fabricating their case against us. And this is the first case in the country that President Trump has been exonerated as a matter of making the claims of massive election fraud. So it's a big one. Number two, it's the first case that was pretty much won by pro se defendants, which was Leah Hoops and myself. And number three, this is the first case that I know of where the attorneys that pressed the cases, instead of the defendant's attorneys being disbarred, I think this attorney, Corkin's his name, I think he's well on his way to being disbarred, and he was, in fact, sanctioned for bringing this frivolous and case with no merit to it. So it's, I would call that a complete victory. The gravity-challenged woman has sung, and we're done.
So is she the first official judge? Is this the first official ruling on something that can lay out the foundation for future rulings?
To my knowledge, yes. It's a matter of public record and court. This is a matter of judicial record and court records now. We filed quite a bit of evidence, videos and audios, and we filed a ton of evidence of the corruption and the malfeasance of these election officials. We are going to be using it now in other cases. We have cases that they're suing us in Delaware County as well for defamation, along with Newsmax and The Federalist and Hogan Gidley, Margot Cleveland, Leah Hoops, myself. There's other noteworthy people that have been sued. We'll be bringing that. We'll be basically putting a fork in that case now. We've also been sued for malicious prosecution by Delaware County, and really it's not Delaware County. They're a proxy for some bad actors we're going to go after, and their complaint was that we filed these lawsuits, and which we're now winning, and we're going to the Commonwealth Court in Pennsylvania for Stenstrom Hoops versus former Secretary of State Commonwealth Bookfar and 26 other defendants, of which 2 of the defendants were included in those 26 in today's motion. So that is a case where we claimed massive election fraud and that we claimed spoliation or destruction and fabrication of evidence, that they fabricated the entire election. Those are our claims, and our request there is that we have an actual trial for that as well. So today was I think a big victory. We're looking for another victory in the Commonwealth Court. It is proof that there was massive election fraud, and we have other cases. We have a case before the Congress of the United States and the Judiciary Committee where we filed criminal charges against Attorney General Barr, former Attorney General Barr, Attorney General Rosen, FBI Director Christopher Wray, Special Prosecutor Jack Smith, and Inspector General Michael Horowitz. We've got formal charges there against them. We're going to be filing federal suits real soon, and we're waiting right now. We're waiting for the recount ruling in Fayette County, which we hope to hear about real soon.
Yeah, and we put in a litigation hold last Wednesday. Was that correct? I think it was last Wednesday.
Last
we put in a
Wednesday,
litigation hold.
Which means they
can't spoliate any of the evidence. And
was there one put on before?
There's no. Well, what happened was before was we I went in front of the court and it was an emergency thing, and I went in front of the court and I just asked the judge, and he said that by the way we filed it, and we did it such a hurried way that there was a problem with the filing, but the judge actually said judge actually said that, instructed the election board that there better not be nothing leave Fayette County and everything better stay there till this is all settled. And so I didn't get the win at that level, but I got the win by getting the judge to inform the election board that they weren't allowed to spoil it, do anything with the evidence,
because that was on record. So they were not permitted to do anything or touch them at that point.
As Greg says, I rang the bell very clear that day.
Yes, the bell has been rung in Fayette County, Chester County. We have Brian Yanoviak, who also ran for Recorder of Deeds, by the way, John. And in Delaware County, we have multiple candidates. We have Joyce Schwartz, Kathy Buckley, Lori Mazzullo, Pat Bleasdale, Bill Denon, and Dean Drybus have filed suits along with myself and Leah Hoops as their authorized representatives. Paul Rumley. We have quite a few litigants here in Delco. We have quite a few litigants in Chester, and we have quite a few litigants. There's quite a few people signed up on the case out in Fayette. So we're the big thing out there will be looking at the mail-in ballots and the determining whether the centralized counting center is a precinct or not, or whether we can look at the 8,400 mail-in ballots. Our premise, of course, is that we should be able to, and their premise is that we had to pay, I think it was roughly $25,000 to be able to look at all the precincts and have 3 times 77, whatever that comes out, plaintiffs, and we had to do that within a 5-day period. When in fact, even if we had done that, they could not partition the mail-in ballots in the manner, even if we did file that, it's disingenuous for them to say that they would be able to do that by precinct, because they munged all of the mail-in ballots together. They put them all together, so there's no way for them to separate them. So the only remedy that is really open to them and open to Judge Leskinen is they have to let us look at all of them, because they basically screwed the pooch, and they, whether by deliberateness or incompetence, put all the mail-in ballots together. So they couldn't separate them if they wanted to. So we're waiting for that ruling now.
Because instead of being counted in individual precincts, the mail-in ballots, they were all counted at the election bureau.
It's election bureau, and
which
that's
they considered a precinct.
And actually, that's what we contend, that if they're all getting counted at one place,
why do you have to file for individual precincts?
Why shouldn't we be able to count to be able to get them all at one place? I mean, that's instead of going. But if they would have took them to each precinct, I would agree with them. But now we found that we should be allowed to see them all, because they counted them all in one spot. And so they've created the one more precinct.
Construct.
In Fayette County. That's what they've done. They've done it all over the state, and it's going to come to head. And this is where we're at.
Well, strategically, one of the reasons we're doing it in multiple counties, and we've had candidates like, thank God for John Marietta, who was willing to sign up, taking a lot of heat. These candidates are taking a tremendous beating and pressure, sore losers. They're pilloried in the press, and all kinds of nasty things said about them by the council and the Board of Elections, and different pundits have really lambasted people for having the temerity to do an accounting of the vote. But nevertheless, one of the things that's important is we were in the Commonwealth Court last summer, And the Commonwealth Court, with all the common pleas courts cases have said as well, we're just following the directions of the Commonwealth. So when we went to the Commonwealth Court, we said, well, we sued the Secretary of the Commonwealth, Schmidt. We said, hey, you got this wrong. And what they ruled was that the Commonwealth, Secretary of the Commonwealth only makes suggestions. Literally, that's the ruling. Suggests how elections should be run at the county level. So we said, okay, we'll take that. So we went now in Delaware County, Chester County, and Fayette County. They all run elections differently, and everyone's got a different story. Well, the mail-in ballots are a precinct. Or wait a minute, they're not a precinct.
Mm-hmm.
Wait a minute, they're not a polling location. We have got disparate rulings all over the state, as John said, but in those 3 counties, they can't keep their story straight because every election we filed a lawsuit. So, example, when they do logic and accuracy testing, we said, well, you've got to do logic and accuracy testing for every precinct for the mail-in ballots. Oh, no. The mail-in, the centralized counting center, when they do logic and accuracy testing, which is before the election to make sure it's, everything runs right,
mm-hmm.
before the election, it's a precinct.
Mm-hmm.
After the election, when we say, okay, we want to see the recount for the precinct, oh, no, it's not a precinct. Wait a minute, it's either a precinct or it's not a precinct. Which one is it?
And if it's not a precinct, then why were the ballots counted there?
Actually, Greg and I had we had some very late night conversations about this, but there's some pretty predominant attorneys that agree with us right now.
Quite a few.
And people that get to be on CNN and well, not CNN, but
finally,
they get to, that they go to for their opinions, and this is where we're at, and it looks like that's where we're headed.
Well, we're beating their brains out in other places too. In Georgia last week, I think people, whether they realize the importance of it or not, and it was in the Fannie Willis case, and it came up that they did not keep images of the mail-in ballots on these mail sorters, Blue Cross sorters.
Wow.
That actually came from our cases here, but they said, no, we don't keep them. Well, it depends on who you talk to. Some of them kept them and then destroyed them. Some of them don't keep them. Some of them do keep them. But the bottom line is what's true in Georgia, Arizona, Michigan, and Pennsylvania is no matter what we do and no matter how many cases we filed, which is quite a number of them now, they just don't want to fess up. They don't want to allow an accounting at all. They don't want to allow observation. They do not want a recount. What they're objecting to is they're saying, well, we'll let you look at the ballot, for John Marietta's race only. Mm-hmm. So wait a minute, it's not what the law says. The law says we can look at the entire ballot, not just John's. Well,
right.
Everything's an excuse, and everything. The biggest thing is the recalcitrance of these people who are stealing elections. We know they're stealing the elections.
Mm-hmm.
The recalcitrance is no matter what we say, and no matter what argument we've presented, they will not give up those recounts. So this is a big deal if Judge Luskin does rule that we are allowed to do recounts and they're allowed to look at these 8,400 mail-in ballots, then we're gonna sort this out.
Yeah, and
it's a huge case. Fayette County is a huge case, probably the biggest case, in my opinion, right now going on in Pennsylvania.
Yeah, and we're moving forward, and we're still going about our daily things and trying to get all this taken care of.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's where we're at. And we have to juggle everything. A lot of people don't realize, they just think, we show up the day of the hearing and that's all there is. But I mean, there's what, Greg, 25, 30, maybe even 40 hours worth of prep time before we get there.
Right.
Oh, yeah. One thing I want to say though is this is real important is. One of the things that has been prohibitive, or the judges have considered, which is a complete falsehood on the boards of elections' part, is they say, well, it'll take us months to do this. Mm-hmm. It'll take, we'll have to sit there and we're trying to run another election. They come up with every excuse in the world why they can't do it, and they're stressed out. And we've already shown in Delaware County, we counted 26, not counted, we took photographs of 26,000 mail-in ballots envelopes in about 6.5 hours. And then we had them all processed within one day. And what we told Judge Luskin, and it's in the filings quite plainly, is we can do a recount. We have the technology and the ability to do a recount in a day, 2 days, maybe even with hours, because we built the ability to do that. And the other thing that's a pretty big deal, and this was another falsehood that's come out, is there's a thing called a cast vote record. And it's a matter of judicial notice and a matter of public record now. A judicial notice that a cast vote record is an exact digital image of the ballot box.
Exactly.
Now, what they've been saying is, it was Heather Honey versus Lycoming County right here in Pennsylvania, and this is a case that's rippled across the country, is that they're saying, well, it's not a public record. And we said, okay, it doesn't have to be a public record. Meaning you can't come in a year or 2 years later and say, I want to see that public record, and say, we're not opening the ballot box for you. We can only open the ballot box for a recount and a recanvass. So while the CVRs, the cast vote records, which is a digital image of what happened in the election, may not be a public record, it is a record for a recount.
Greg, I appreciate you calling in. We're going to have to cut it off right there, okay?
Thanks, John.
Well, on this road called life, you have to take the good with the bad. Smile when you're sad, love what you got, and remember what you had. Always forgive and never forget. Learn from your mistakes, but never regret. People change. Things go wrong. Just remember the ride goes on. God bless each and every one of you, and God bless America. This is John Marietta, and I am the Hillbilly.
And this is WMBS Uniontown.
Court bringing charges, and it's over. It's time to move on.
White House counsel Ian Sams defending a former special prosecutor's assessment on President Biden's mishandling of classified